Psylocke, 90s Psylocke, as opposed to 80s Psylocke. Okay. This is all going to depend on the ability to draw this upshot, so I'm going to draw that head first, and if I can get it where I want it, the rest of it, I'm golden. I don't know for the upshot. After having drawn everything, I'm thinking now the downshot is the way to go. Confirmed. Angle works better. And then this is going to be all black in here. Here, 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 here. And then cast shadow right here. I'll go into a little bit of how this works so that I don't have to explain it at the end. A lot of times people kind of panic because it's a lot of interesting or different kind of information that's kind of dropped on them at the end, and they're like, well, what? I don't understand what's a whisper. So there's a couple different ways to message people in Twitch. One is like traditional like email, which are the messages. If you're on a desktop, it's I think on your right hand side. But then they have something that's more like a direct message or a text, which is a whisper. And that's, I think, near your chat. It's like to the left of your chat box, I think, on your desktop. And I think it has a separate call out if you are on your mobile. And rather than kind of subject you to the circus of live auction, which can get emotional, and then people kind of maybe overbid on something because they get caught up in the drama of it all. I do what's called a silent auction. So basically, ask people if you're interested, go ahead and submit an offer, and based on what that number is, I don't even announce who won, so it's confidential. I usually will announce the amount so that people who keep track of this kind of thing know what that is, and then I contact you directly, and ship you the art. And it's different. The other stuff I have to personalize it because it's free. This is more like, I guess, a traditional commission, except that it's sold after the fact. This home, and it got completely burned to the ground. So there was a GoFundMe there. So a lot of it's through GoFundMe activity. So yes, that's kind of where it is. But is it for a specific thing? No. But there will be. I'm doing a piece of art for my kids, one of my kids' schools. They do it through Bidding for Good, I think is or the site they traditionally use. And you'll see a piece, I think it's going to be Batman and Wonder Woman, a piece like that. And you're going to see that. I'll provide the links for that through Discord and Insta and Twitter for those of you inclined to buy 11 by 17 piece of finished art. I might even draw that on screen. But then I was toying out the idea of doing sketches for the school fundraiser. And so all that money would go towards the school. I'd probably have you just pay the school directly. I don't know. I'll figure that out, the details. Insta is like just not great for doing that kind of thing because you can't put a link. You always have to put in your bio, and you only have host essentially one thing at a time, so it's a bit of a hassle. But if you just Google Justin Ponser, Ponser, he does these blog updates where he talks about his treatment, and he's super upbeat. I mean, the stuff is funny, and you can see that he's just really fighting it like a trooper, and just got completely the right attitude. But it's heartbreaking at the same time because you don't wish this upon anybody. And even though he can talk about it in a very matter of fact kind of way, it's still got to be hard. I can only imagine how difficult it would be having had family members deal with cancer and lost their lives to cancer. It's tough. It's very tough. Hour plus. I can be quiet if you need to go. Yeah. So Randy was another one. At Wildstorm, there was a number of people that have been affected over the years. Nick Banabat lost his battle. Oliver Nomi. These are all young guys too. Rich Johnson. And you do what you can in terms of support, both emotionally, financially. Wow, this is turning into a bit of a downer. Let's shift gears, shall we? Prime. Amazon Prime, of course, owns Twitch. They provide every Amazon Prime member a complimentary Twitch membership. You can use it each and every month to support and subscribe to the stream of your choice. It's a great way of sort of exploring the world of Twitch and seeing what interests you. Okay, so this marker is dead as well. I'm gonna start a GoFundMe just to just get some damn reliable markers. It's my own fault. I'm a penny pincher. Yeah, I mean, these are expensive markers, though. These are expensive, to be honest. They're like $3 a piece, something like that. And you think, well, that's not that bad. But I mean, I'm buying them in bulk, dozens at a time, and yeah. And I got to find that and use it. I'm a little bit behind on my custom emotes. I try to make all of them, not about some of the emotes I have now, because some of the ones like Family and even Bob Ross, they don't really get used anymore, so it's just kind of taking up a slot. And I thought I would just create them and they would exist, but now I realize, no, it's more a fluid situation that I have to swap them out based on kind of where the conversation goes and what sort of the in-jokes kind of end up being. I'm long overdue on a crispy, excuse me, on a crispy emote. But it'll get done. It'll get done. There's no finish line in this. This is just a continual thing. That's what kind of fascinates me about going in and watching people stream that I don't know who they are, but they've built up a following. They've been doing this for like 5 years. I'm just curious, like the journey they went through, and that's got to be really interesting to hear, because I've been doing this for just like 8 months, maybe 7 months, something like that. And what I'm doing now is already very different. I mean, it was literally very comical, like the level of technical issues I had early on. I still have them, but not as bad. Still do the blunder where the audio's muted. But in the old days, like, I had autofocus on, lighting was horrible, there was camera shake, drawing off panel. It was not good. It was not good. But it's all right. I knew that going in, and I didn't mind learning on the fly. I'd rather have done that than hired a bunch of people, paid a lot of money, and nailed it off the very first stream. Because I feel like that would have been a lot of pressure to get it right, and then it would have felt like work from the beginning. It would have been very stressful, as opposed to this kind of journey where I've kind of learned about OBS and microphones and streaming and bitrate and all this other stuff. So to me, it's been an enjoyable learning process. I do like sort of the confluence, the intersection of art and technology. And for me, that's kind of what this Twitch stream represents. Someone asked me before, like, why did I start streaming? And I'll tell you, initially, it was to do something with my kids. I think I did a live Instagram where I showed our then 11-year-old kind of guiding a copter in Ghostland or Ghost Recon Wildlands or something like that. It was just funny. It was just funny watching him play and streaming it. And then you realize, oh no, there's dedicated platforms to this. And so we had this notion of like, hey, we can all game and stream, and so I can put some art, maybe attract some people that way. The gaming part has kind of fallen to the wayside a bit. It's still around. In fact, we're going to be streaming a game that's not even out yet called Pantheon: Rise of the Fallen. It's by a guy named Brad McQuaid, a friend of mine. He's one of the co-founders of Variant Entertainment. They produced EverQuest. That's really the game that really kind of made Brad's name with John Smedley. And so they have this new MMO that's pre-alpha, and they're giving us a sneak peek. So myself, Ren Elephant, Crispy Egg Roll, and PK are going to squad up with some people from Visionary, I think that's the name of the company. And we're going to go do a dungeon crawl this Tuesday night, I think starting at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, something like that. And kind of, the game's still very early on, so you have to kind of, if you know anything about games and you've seen games early on, you know that all the graphics aren't there, the lighting, the specular effects, all that kind of stuff is to come. So you have to kind of use your imagination, and if you know anything about game development, it's easy to kind of envision what the final game will be. But the idea is to kind of give you a glimpse behind the scenes and talk about what they're trying to do, which is create a very kind of traditional, old school MMO that has real consequences, a very distinct kind of counterpoint view or approach than games like World of Warcraft. And MMOs are really, I'm not as big of an FPS player, although I'm huge into PUBG, but in general over the years I've liked MMOs, and I've liked strategy games like Sid Meier's Civilization. Although really it was Civilization 2. That was the best. I think that was the height of my Civilization obsession. Then Call of Duty, as far as FPSs go, prior to PUBG, especially Modern Warfare and the World War II stuff predating the current World War II game that's out there now. I haven't bought this current World War II game yet, but I need to. But it's very fast-paced. From what I've seen online, it's very fast-paced World War II game, and I like the games that have a little more realism to it, move at maybe a slightly slower pace, because that would have been more of how it would have gone. I realize it's a game, and you don't want to have a game where you're just always searching for cover and taking cover. But at the same time, I don't know if I want a game where I'm literally just like charging the enemy all the time. Although that's actually my strategy when I squatted up. One of my kids had his friend over, so there were 1, 2, 3, 4 of us playing. No, 5 of us. So the 2 kids, the 12-year-old and the 17-year-old, both had friends over, and so there were 5 of us. So I was playing in my office. The other 4 were in the game room, and that was a lot of fun. And that's a fairly realistic game, except for all the kind of weird superpowers you get from the character unlocks. But in terms of the involved in the office spaces, that everyone had computers and they were all networked together, and we would get games. And so after hours, everyone would get on a computer, and we'd have these gigantic, PvP matches against one another. So people at the studio in La Jolla would play Medal of Honor. We also had a sit-down arcade, so there'd be like these Street Fighter. I think it was Street Fighter was the game. With a giant in front of this TV that's dedicated to the game, and there would be like these all-night 1v1 tournaments, matches. It was pretty. But we were playing PUBG for a while, but I think the fact that I got kind of obsessed with the game led my kids not to want to play. The younger one in particular, I think it wasn't his speed. So he plays Fortnite. I can't get into Fortnite, but I understand. I mean, it's to me it's like a younger version of PUBG. I think it's more playful, easier, probably less frustrating. And what else did I play? We used to play WoW, so almost all the kids have. At one point, we had like 4 or 5 accounts, I think. I think we still do. And we played Horde. A bunch of the kids play Overwatch. I would play with them, but I never got the bug as much. I enjoy playing it. I play pretty much Roadhog over and over. I've mastered mediocrity in that character, I want to say. Unlock that ability, that achievement. But mostly PC games at this point. We did get into console heavy for a little while, and I think even Call of Duty Modern Warfare was pretty much on the console dictated. There was a time when I was heavy into EverQuest where I put in crazy hours in that game, and what I get out of it? I got a cool virtual flaming sword. That's what I got out of it. So it always interests me that a lot of these games now have their virtual economies where people pay real cash money, hundreds if not thousands of dollars for skins for knives in like CS:GO or mini skirts in PUBG. Um, but then I just paid a lot of money for a keyboard. So who am I to talk? I was playing CS:GO with my kids for a while there as well. So you can see I'm doing the rendering through cross-hatching. You could do it through dry brush. Just creating gray values, really. It's a little slower, but I can kind of control a little bit more. And I know I'm going to go in with black over here. So when I was heavy into EverQuest, I actually bought accounts. There's a guy, he was a molecular biologist at Stanford, and he was part of the guild, and he had a high level, and he was like swearing off playing these games. But then sure enough, like 3 months later, he's like, hey, can I buy back my characters? So I sold them back to him. For $2,400. No, I sold it back to him for the same price, man. Guild members for life, right? And this is why I don't fault people for buying virtual trading cards, or I wouldn't buy a virtual miniskirt for my character. But I did go and buy a lot, and you don't have time to grind it out. Like, you just want to play. Like, right, let's just get some gold, loot up, get some loot for our characters, and do the fun stuff. What was I trying to say? I don't know. I forgot. What was I trying to say? Oh, so I'm trying to defend. I'm trying to rationalize these insane purchases. Yeah. Two boxing is when you put two computers next to each other and you play both characters at the same time. So I would have like a tank and then a cleric or healer. Oh man, what's going on? What happened to the Brotherhood? I'm kidding. She's very understanding of all the ridiculousness of this life I lead. Or an elephant. Okay. I don't know if I should put the highlights down the center band, so I'm going to leave them for now and see how it looks. I might have to go all black to make it work graphically. I wasn't chilling. I was on stream working, man. I wish I had time to just chill. What time is it? 12:43? Okay. I need to speed things up, so I'm going to ink with a little bit of haste, but not too much. I don't want to mess up what I've put down already. Brush is weird. It's not holding as much ink as I would like. It's I probably need a 3 brush. This, I believe, it's a 5. Interesting. Every brand has different designations for brushes, but usually. If there's anything, I flew in the night before. I don't sleep well when I travel. And with the jet lag, I don't know, maybe I just, usually the day after I travel, I'm not so good. But look, there are days when I'm more, like, my brain cells are firing all together, and other days when they're not. And so I apologize if I seemed out of it, but no, it wasn't. Although I had just, I don't know. Maybe I was kind of running on fumes at that point. But I wouldn't read too much into it. there are times when people come up to me at shows and go like, "Oh my God, you look so tired." I'm like, "Thanks, I don't feel tired at all." And so it's always before making that proclamation or asking that question. Okay. I heard it's something that can be done. Oh yeah, that worked out great, Jim. Mm. Okay, forget it. I can just do it without that thing. All right. All right. If you're talking about drawing professionally or for fun, if you're drawing for fun, maybe get a sketchbook and just draw what you like. But if you're thinking about doing it professionally, try to draw every day if possible. And 34 is not too late. I want to what professional started. I want to say I don't want to screw up and say the wrong person, but there are creators that are working comics that broke in their 30s. A lot broke in their 20s, but it's not unheard of for people to kind of break in later. It's typically people at that age have more responsibilities, right? Different expectations from family and friends. Life is cruel, man. By the time you're 40, like, you're expected to be a quote unquote success in whatever profession you've chosen. I don't know why, I say, we've chosen to have this structure with this success ladder, hierarchy, whatever. I think it's tough if you want to be a creative. Switch things up and try different things and kind of let your passions kind of dictate where you go. So I'm using thin lines here to kind of tie it in stylistically to what I have up here, as opposed to just dry brush. Be good if I finish this arm too, right? these markers. I might have just bought a lot of them at the same time, and so they're all kind of dying on me at the same time, whether they get used or not. And even when you buy a batch of like 20 markers, a lot of them might just be crappy already. Marker quality control not quite what it used to be. Blue 95, thank you very much. This wrist is a little narrow, so in my head I'm already cataloging all the things I want to basically tweak and fix when I get to the whiteout stage of this piece, which will be momentarily. I'm going to start thanking people and doing the final part of this stream as I get closer to the end of this. I want to thank, obviously, our mods who were here last night and are here this morning. They are fearless in their lives and their scheduling. We have Kirihiko from Zurich, Switzerland. Ren Elephant, who could possibly be at work right now, I don't want to say. And then Crispy Egg Roll, who's recovering probably from a hangover, possibly. We had a wedding last night, modding from the wedding. So so please give them a hearty round of applause for being here, making this as informative and smooth going as possible. It allows me to do my job and focus on the art, because I know they're taking care of you guys in stream and answering questions and giving you all the information. I will plug being a follower. If you are new to here, just hit the follow button. You'll get notifications when we go live again. If you are intrigued and want to learn more about this stream, we have a Discord channel dedicated just to this. Check it out. You don't have to be a sub, although being a sub unlocks more of that Discord channel. What else can I say? Thank you guys for spending your Sunday, or wherever you are, part of your day with me and the rest of us. What's cool about this, having done it now for as long as we have, it's not just about the art or about my career or my stupid views on it. It's a silent auction. So after I get the bids, it'll take a little bit of time for me to kind of wade through it and find the thing. If you've never seen these auctions before, don't be shocked. It can get a little pricey. So past auctions have gone for a decent amount of money, and what I find is that characters like Psylocke, or from my early part of my career that I don't really draw anymore, they tend to do well in auction, because there are a lot of longtime fans that are obviously here because of the... I usually like to keep some of the pencil lines there, because I think it gives a very kind of sketchy, unfinished, kind of a more of an unfinished feel to it. Like you can see the underdrawing of it, but sometimes the underdrawing is too dark, and it kind of takes away, it breaks some of the structure that I've laid out. And so I like to go in and fix things up a little bit. If I get rid of too many of the pencil lines, some of the pencil lines actually reinforce some of the black lines I've put down and make them look thicker or darker. And so if I erase the pencil, that means I have to go in and fix the inks as well. So I need to be careful and just kind of erase what I need to and add some. Slight shading, light sources over here, blue costume, and then what this this gray layer allows me to do is take the white out and add back in highlights. Allows me to do some blending here, some core shadowing here. I'm forgetting it. Let me. So you can go ahead and put your bids in now, because as soon as I'm done with this, I'll go look very quickly, and we'll take care of that, and then do the. Going in and adding some gray values, actually taking things to black through a light application of gray. It's dry brush, essentially. It's almost like a glaze of darkness. It allows you to kind of go in and do some very subtle things. It's almost like airbrushing in a way, maybe. Blend things together. That hip is out of control. There's like all sorts of undulations here I need to fix. Just tighten up. So it's been a while since we've done this live sketching. It's therapeutic. I encourage you all to draw. Why not?